You're listening to the Confidence Coach Podcast, episode 84. What is your first impression? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I am Sasha Davis, your host. Today I want to talk about first impressions. How we make lasting first impressions. And literally it takes less than a few seconds to make a judgment when meeting people. And so I have some interesting facts or statistics that I want to share with you guys. I found these by a simple Google search. I don't even remember where I saw the link, but then I started to look into it and I thought it was very interesting. And so I wanted to share it with you guys. And so the first few stats show here that first impressions are determined by 55% of your first impressions are determined by your body language, guys. Like the way you walk into a room, how you present yourself, your stance, your eye contact, where you're placing your hands, are your shoulders back, things like this. And even part of that's the way you dress. So what first impression are you leaving on people? Do you want them to think, like black suit and tie? Do you want them to think like you're casual? Do you want them to assume that you're what is the first impression that you would like to receive? And how can you translate that into your body language or how you walk into a room or how you dress? For me, I want people to think that I am just real. Like I'm not stiff. I'm just chill. I'm pretty laid back. I'm intense. Yes. I think you can probably gather that from my voice and some of the things that I say and even my body language. Funny story, side note here. I'm a horse person, and every now and then I will take continuing education for horse knowledge, for therapeutic horseback riding, for teaching, for instructing. And I took one of these classes a couple years ago. It's called Pat Pirelli. He's a natural horsemanship. It's a natural horsemanship style, and they did a clinic on it. And so I'm there and they're telling us, about body language and how it relates to the horse and things like this. And the lady's like, all right, I want you to take a confident, stout, powerful stance. And I did. And she's like, whoa. Too much, Sasha, too much. Like you're scaring the horses. I just had to laugh because I was like, holy shit, if I'm scaring the horses by the way that I'm standing and presenting myself without verbally saying anything, and horses don't give a shit about how I look, so it has nothing to do with my outfit at that time, but just the way that I was standing, the way that my face looked, and the energy that was behind it, right? So the thing that was going through my head is like, I am powerful, I am confident, these horses aren't going to fuck with me. And they weren't, man. They were not. But that was translated just through body language. Nothing else. Just body language. So how powerful you stand, or the way that you choose to stand, walk into a room, look at people, where you place your hands, all matters. What type of first impression are you giving to people? Are you looking down and to the side? Are your shoulders kind of slumped over? Are you crossing your arms like you're guarded? Are you, dragging your feet? Like, what do you look like when you first meet people? Would you consider yourself shy? Would you consider yourself confident? Would you consider yourself embarrassed or shamed? Or what's the word that comes to mind when you look at yourself in the mirror and that stance that you take to give a first impression? What is it? And I don't like to get too hung up on the way you dress, but it's so true. It's so true. If you look at pictures of me, there's pictures of me where I'm like in workout clothes, and there's pictures of me in like business clothes. And it just depends on what picture you land on. Depends on your first impression of me. And I find it So interesting that we can make such judgments on people without ever speaking to them, just by how they look and the body language that they have. Isn't that just so interesting? Think about this in your personal life. Just think about it. Like when you walk up to people or you see people out and about, what judgments are you making? Just do an experiment today and think about all of the judgments that you are making based on the photos that you see online and the people that you meet in person, or even the people that you just walk by in person. Hell, what was your first impression of me? A lot of times people think that I'm a bitch. And I think that it's just partly my face. I'm one of those people that has like a resting bitch face. I work really hard on trying to smile. But I am a happy individual. And I think once you get to know me, you kind of just realize like, hey, Sasha's just Sasha. And I would do just about anything for anyone. And I'm not really a bitch. Maybe I just have very firm boundaries. But it's funny because a lot of times when people meet me, they're like, oh my God, I thought you were an evil bitch. You were so intimidating. I didn't want to talk to you. And so I have to make sure that I like tone down my body language, because I often scare people away with my intensity. And it's totally not on purpose. That's just kind of how I am. I'm a very confident individual, and I'm a very powerful individual. I stand very firmly on the things that I believe in, and I stand up for those people that are behind me. And it's very hard to persuade me one way or another when I've made up my mind. I think you probably gather that from my body language and probably from some of the things that I say, but most of it is just by how I look and how I act, and not necessarily what I say. Which brings me to the next one. The quality of your voice and the confidence that you emit behind your voice. 38% of first impressions are determined by the quality of your voice. Think about it. How do you talk to people? If I were to show up here and be like, hey guys, this is Sasha Davis with the Confidence Coach Podcast. Welcome back to another episode. You guys would be like, what the fuck am I listening to? She is not confident. But when I'm like, hey guys, welcome back to the Confidence Coach Podcast. Today I'm going to rock your fucking socks off. You're like, holy shit, who is this person? So it all has to do with your voice. And I don't mean like you have to be loud. I mean, I would think of that as a firm voice or a strong voice. Sometimes loud can just be obnoxious. I know this because I was a loud person. And a lot of people thought that I was confident when I was younger, when really I was just loud and mean. There's a big, big difference. Now I would say that I'm strong and kind. Whereas, before I was mean and I was loud and I would say a lot of really terrible, mean, hurtful things just to get a point across and not really give two shits about how the other person felt. And I mean that in a sense that I had no empathy for other people. I just didn't give a shit. I had a chip on my shoulder. I was very angry, and it was not a good way of living. When you have that much anger built up inside, it doesn't hurt anybody else. I mean, it does hurt everybody else, but it hurts you the most. Okay. So if you're one of those people who is just loud and mean, I want you to challenge yourself. Why are you being loud and mean? And a lot of times it's because you are angry at yourself. That was a hard pill for me to swallow when I started, doing, quote, the work. Because all of the things that I wanted to blame on other people had nothing to do with other people. It just had to do with me. It was nobody else's fault that I was doing what I was doing or where I was at or the places and experiences, all of the terrible, terrible things that I did. It was my fault. Nobody held a gun to my head and said, Sasha, you have to do these really stupid, stupid things. No. I was the one that took a drink. I was the one that, wrecked a car. I was the one that said the mean, hurtful things. I was the one that, whatever. It wasn't anybody else's fault. Oh, a bird just ran into my window. Did you hear it? Squirrel. So I want to ask you, how are you speaking your message, or just in general, how are you speaking to other people? Does that show confidence? What first impression are you giving people? Do you want them to think that you're cool, calm, confident? Do you want them to think that like you're fun and energized? Do you want them to think that you're hilarious? What do you want them to think about you? And then how can you practice that? Practice showing that with the quality of your voice and the confidence behind it. It's not necessarily what you say, but how you say it. There's a difference. Again, I can give you another example. Like if you do your affirmations in the morning, what you say and how you say it matters, but more how you say it than what you say. So if you're sitting there like, I am beautiful, versus like, I am beautiful, I am beautiful. And you don't have to actually say this out loud. You have a voice in your head. At least I do. Maybe I'm the only person that does this. But I try to pump myself up and say like, yeah, Sasha, you got this. You are beautiful. You are strong. You are brave, or whatever the words are, instead of like, this feels so gross. And sometimes it does, and that's okay. But how can you practice this? One of the things that I always tell my clients is mirror work, and they hate it. Every single one of them is like, ugh, you're going to make me talk in the mirror again? I'm like, yeah, because if you can say this stuff to yourself, it's going to be easy saying it to anybody else. And it's the truth. The hardest person to convince is you, because you are your own worst enemy. You are your biggest critic. You are the one that has to live with yourself all damn day. Nobody else. So the person that you need to convince is yourself. So what message are you trying to get across to people? And this can be in work, this can be in personal life, this can be you trying to, have a conversation with your husband, or have a conversation with your boss, or maybe you want to get your message across on social media, or maybe you want to start your own podcast, or maybe you're trying to become a motivational speaker. How is the quality of your voice? How are you speaking? Does it show confidence in your message? And if it doesn't feel confident, I want you to practice this in a mirror, in like a full length mirror or in the bathroom mirror, and just set a timer for like 5 minutes and just practice talking to yourself. Practice it. And if you want to take it another step further, you can join speaking groups such as, there's Toastmasters. I think there's a Toastmasters in just about every local area. Or you can practice speaking on social media more. You can practice doing live videos more. You can go to the nursing home. You can go to your local high school. There's tons of places that you can practice in front of other people. Hell, invite people over for a freaking dinner party and make a dinner announcement right before you guys eat. Like practicing and then asking like, hey guys, like I'm practicing for this thing, or I'm trying to gain more confidence. Can you guys help me out? Like I want to be able to speak more clearly, and I want the quality of my voice to show confidence. Can you guys help me out? Just sit here, because sometimes if you have just people, 6 or 8 or 100 people staring at you, it's hard. It can be so hard. So just pay attention to the quality of your voice and how you're speaking to people and whether or not that shows confidence. And if it does not show confidence, how can you practice it? You can do mirror work, you can do role plays, you can join Toastmasters. There's tons of things that you can do, but just pay attention to how you judge other people based on the quality of their voice. And I'm terrible at this, you guys. Like when I first started doing like podcasts or hearing myself on Facebook or Instagram, I'm like, oh man, I sound like a freaking dude. Like I have a man voice. I could not get over it. I couldn't listen to myself. I just wanted to vomit every time I heard a playback, because I was like, ugh, is that what I sound like? I can't believe people actually listen to me. And the truth is that, maybe I sound like a man. I don't really know, but I sound confident versus like a shy man sounding voice, I guess. And now I'm to the point where I'm just like, meh, whatever. I don't care. But then when I listen to other people's podcasts, I'm almost hyper aware of how their voice sounds. And so I'm triggered by the people who have very high pitched voices. And I'm actually really attracted to the people who have like a medium tone or even like a low tone voice. But when I listen to people who are way up here like this, and they're like talking and they're so excited and Valley Girl, I just can't get into it. I can't get into it. And, that's just a personal thing. I don't know if it has anything to do with it does have to do with first impressions, because they may have a great message, but I can't get over the sound of their voice. Like, I cannot even listen or tune in to whatever message. They may have the cure for cancer, but because the quality of their voice is not in my realm, I'm going to say, it's just not my thing, not my jam, I can't hear it. I can't listen to it. It's like nails on a freaking chalkboard to me. And that's okay. They're just not my people. They may be great people. They're just not my people. And I have to be okay with that. And so when I speak, I no longer try to shift my voice one way or another. Some days I'm silly. Some days I'm sad. Some days I'm super happy. Like, it just depends on the day. And I just try to show up as real as I am. And the people who want to be in my circle will find me. I have zero doubts now, because it works. When I stop caring about how I can improve my tone of my voice to impress everybody, I started to attract the people that I really wanted. When I just started to show up as Sasha, a confident Sasha, my people showed. They came to me, and it all has to do with what vibes you put out into the world. The only thing I am going to say is pay attention to the quality of your voice. Does it show confidence, or does it lack confidence? That's the main thing. And as long as you are confident in the quality of your voice and how you are speaking, the rest does not matter. The rest does not matter, because if you are confident in your voice, other people are going to show confidence in your voice and your message as well. And then the last thing is the words that you choose to say, only 7% of first impressions are actually determined by the words that you say. So body language is most important, and then how you speak is next most important. So the confidence behind how you stand and how you talk are the two biggest factors in your first impressions. I just found this to be so interesting, and it's a no-brainer if you think about it. Think how many people you judge in a day. It doesn't have a whole lot with what actual words you are saying, but how you are saying them, how you choose to say them, the power behind them, the intention behind them, the energy behind them, not the actual physical words themselves. Physical words, I guess. So just some fun stats for you guys today. I found these very interesting, but it comes to no surprise, because this is why people can communicate without actually using words. It's all by body language and how you stand and how you interact with people. And these first impressions are lasting. It is so hard to get over a first impression. Seriously, it takes less than a few seconds to make a judgment when you meet somebody new. But just know that you can control the kind of impression you make on other people. But this isn't going to happen without some planning. You have to figure out what your message is and how you are going to relay that to other people. Again, this can be a conversation with your husband. This can be a conversation with a parent. This can be a conversation with a child. This can be a conversation within your business. What message do you want to make? What first impression do you want to give about that message or about you when you meet new people, when you attend an event? What first impression do you want to make at that interaction? Okay, these impressions are formed so quickly, like they have no information behind this first impression in order to make an assessment on you. They literally have no information about you. It is just how you look and how you are standing. These are instinctive. Think about it if you were out in the wild and a bear walks up to you, and this could be a circus bear. You have no idea that this is the friendliest bear in the world, but because it is a bear and he's standing on his back legs, like, you are terrified because that is your first impression. Or say you're out in the woods and you see a horse, and this could be like the wildest horse, meanest horse in the world. But since you grew up with horses, you think that every horse is super nice. So you go up to this horse and, their ears are back and they start rearing and you're like, oh God, maybe it's not really a nice horse. What is your first impression? Or if you're walking through the mall and you see a mom and she's in yoga pants and a messy bun and she's crying and her kids are screaming and you're like, oh my God, like that mom needs to get her shit together. But you don't know the information that maybe somebody very important to her just passed away, so she had to peel her kid away from the playground and rush home, right? You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea. Or if somebody may be like super happy and super silly and like laughing and da-da-da-da-da, and you're like, wow, that person needs to get it together. But really they just received a promotion, or somebody just decided that they were going to go out on a date with them and they're trying to celebrate. But because you and your perceptions, you place a first impression on them without knowing any information about that person. None. Zero. Okay? And say you're going to a job, right? An interviewer often relies on that first impression to choose who gets the job based on a first impression. And so this is where like resumes and things like that kind of come in, because like, what's your first impression of your resume? Is it just like slopped on a piece of paper? Or what first impression are you giving people when you're applying for jobs? Or when you're out there talking about your business? What is your first impression that you are giving to people? Food for thought. And if you're not happy with what first impression you are giving, how can you adjust it? Take some pictures of yourself and just first impression yourself. Say, hey, what would you think of this? Or what would you think of that? Ask people closest to you. Ask some friends, post online. Like, what's your first impression? Talk to yourself in the mirror. What is your message and how do you want to relay that to people? And that is all I want to leave with you guys today. What first impression are you leaving? All right, guys, have a kick-ass day. We'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening to the Confidence Coach podcast. Our goal is to help you overcome fear and master self-confidence in order for you to take your life and business to the next level. With that being said, Confidence Academy enrollment is now open. We start in June. So if you are looking to reach new levels in your life and business, if you're ready to think outside the box and create more time, more emotional and financial freedom, if you are someone that is willing to take action, if you're fun and energetic, if you are open-minded and willing to try new things, if you are looking for a community of supportive, badass women, strategy, mindset, and all of the tools and resources you need to become the most confident version of yourself, this program is made for you. Head on over to sashadavis.com/apply now. I will read and respond to every application. You'll get on the phone with me or someone on my team to see if this program is a perfect fit for you. I'm so excited to read your applications. Have a kick-ass day.